Everyone constantly talks about fearing rejection. But honestly, I'd rather be rejected than accepted any day. Rejection means people leave you alone. Acceptance brings expectations, and that's where the real trouble begins. For years, I believed I was completely unlovable. The silver lining of rock-bottom self-esteem. Insults barely stung. My boss at that grimy bar greeted me for 3 solid years with "You're worthless, Lily." I'd just shrug and say, "Yep, probably right," without even blinking. Why would I care? He had a point. It wasn't that I thought I was the absolute worst. I was just accustomed to being disliked. Made sense, really. My own parents couldn't stand me. They kicked me out at 15. When your own family can't handle the standard 18 years, you can't exactly expect the world to embrace you. Then everything changed when someone actually loved me. That brought far more heartache than rejection ever did. Now I wasn't just afraid of losing him, I feared disappointing everyone connected to him. And he came with a lot of people, a lot of expectations. Here's the issue. My boyfriend is not entirely human. He transforms into a wolf, which sounds cool but is actually terrifying. B, an alpha, meaning he's a revered pack leader, and C, basically perfection personified. So yeah, try dealing with that. Overnight, I transformed from the girl nobody expected anything from to the woman everyone quietly scrutinized, evaluated, compared. They'd all assumed he'd end up with Sarah, his closest friend, his sister-in-law, the ideal partner in everything but name. Gorgeous, graceful, intelligent, refined, unshakable under pressure. The kind of woman who made being a Luna seem effortless. There's no universe where I could compare to her. Everyone knew it. I felt it in their looks, those courteous smiles barely concealing doubt. They were waiting for my failure. The worst part, I didn't know yet if I could prove them wrong. Either way, I was about to find out. Quick pause before we continue. If you're watching this from somewhere in the world right now, let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're enjoying stories like this, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because tomorrow's episode, it goes even deeper than this. Chapter 1. Lily the family cottage is approximately 3 times my entire freshman dorm size. Jesus Christ, I mutter, craning my neck at the sprawling mountain mansion before us. It has actual turrets. Who puts turrets on a cottage? Maya, you said cottage. This is not a cottage. Maya, my best friend, currently standing beside me as I gawk at what resembles a werewolf ski resort, looks sheepish. Well, that's what everyone calls it. The Montgomery family cottage. The Montgomerys have a very generous definition of cottage, I say flatly. This is a small hotel. Do we need key cards? Is there a concierge? It's very charming, Adrian offers from behind us. Very quaint. I turn to stare at him. Maya's vampire boyfriend stands there in what's probably a cashmere coat, regarding the massive stone and timber structure like it's a garden shed. Babe, Maya says, when you call something this size quaint, you're just reminding everyone you were raised with enormous wealth. Adrian's pale cheeks actually flush. Right, sorry. He shoots me a nervous glance. It's very large. I ignore him, my default with Adrian. Look, he's better than Maya's ex on account of actually loving her and not being abusive. That's a point in his favor. but he's still a vampire who once used mind control powers on Nathan. I don't forgive people who mess with my mate. Speaking of my mate, I pull out my phone, hope fluttering stupidly in my chest. No new messages. The flutter dies. I scowl at the screen like it personally offended me. Here's what nobody tells you about fated mates. Sure, the universe decides you're perfect for each other, but it doesn't guarantee you'll actually see each other. Let me paint you a picture. Girl meets boy. Boy is girl's infuriatingly hot archaeology professor in denial about being into girl. Girl gets hit by a car, falls into a coma, and surprise, only boy can see girl's ghost. Oh, and boy's a werewolf. Well, wolf shifter, technically. Which is precisely why he's the only one who can see girl, because they're fated mates. Lucky, right? Otherwise, Mr. Stubborn would never have dated girl for dramatic reasons like too dangerous, and you're my student, and I killed my mother by being born so I don't deserve happiness. But the stars aligned. Girl successfully becomes a shifter and can happily mate with boy. Boy is Nathan. Girl is me. After dying, coming back, fighting psychotic werewolves, and literally defying nature's laws, we're finally together. Happily ever after, right? Except ever after apparently means boy is 300 miles away hunting a psychotic vampire shifter hybrid. Fate can be such a bitch sometimes. I died for this relationship, I say aloud. Literally died. But is that enough? No. Reception's bad up here, Maya says gently, reading my expression. Still, I say, shoving my phone away. He was supposed to be here yesterday. I haven't seen him in nearly 2 months. The least he could do is keep me updated. Maybe, Adrian jumps in. He did text, but you didn't receive it because... Ow. Maya has elbowed Adrian in the ribs. Lily, I'm sorry. I know it's been hard, but you'll be with Nathan soon, I promise. I want to believe her. God, I want to. But soon has meant many different things over the past 6 weeks. Soon meant next week. Soon meant a few days. Soon meant yesterday. Come on, I say, heading toward the massive front doors. Let's get this over with. The interior is exactly what you'd expect. Exposed wooden beams, a stone fireplace large enough to roast an actual bear, and approximately 17,000 throw pillows. Oh, and people. Lots of people rushing around with boxes, garland, and what appears to be detailed floor plans. I stop in the doorway. What's all this? This doesn't look like a family gathering. This looks like wedding planning. The staff, Maya says like it's obvious. I blink. What staff? Why do we need staff for family Christmas? Precisely for that, Maya says slowly, concerned. So they can help. Help with what? I frown. I'm genuinely asking, what part of Christmas requires hired help? You get a tree. Put lights on it, eat food, how hard can it be? Before Maya can answer, a woman I vaguely recognize from pack gatherings makes a beeline for us. There you are, Luna, thank goodness. My name is Lily, I say automatically. The woman blinks while Maya tries not to laugh. What? I ask. Luna is a title, Maya explains carefully. You're Nathan's mate, Nathan's the alpha. He is, I say flatly. Hadn't noticed. He's only constantly busy with pack business, has people trailing him constantly, carries everyone's problems on his shoulders. But sure, news to me. Yes, and that makes you Luna, Maya finishes. I raise an eyebrow. Guess that's another thing Nathan forgot to mention between saving the world and being mysteriously absent. The pack woman still stands there, increasingly anxious. We weren't sure about seating arrangements. Nathan always handles that, but since he's not here... Okay, I interrupt. But why are you asking me? I literally walked through the door 30 seconds ago. Well, because you're the Luna, the woman says, looking ready to pull her hair out. Maya jumps in quickly. She means because Nathan usually oversees these things, but since he's not here and you're his mate, the implication is clear. I'm supposed to step in. I'm supposed to know what to do. I stare at my friend, then at the woman, then at people rushing around with clipboards and decorations. Wait. Are all these people expecting me to run this entire event? Another person appears with an actual clipboard. Luna, quick question about the dinner schedule. Oh my God, they totally are, Adrian exclaims. I turn to Maya, panic rising. Maya, they expect me to organize this. It's going to be okay, Maya says soothingly. No, it's not. My voice comes out higher than intended. Last year, I didn't even have a family. I spent Christmas dressed as an elf at a bar for tips. Now I'm supposed to run some big event for my boyfriend's family. Lily, Maya reaches for my arm. The pack's your family too. You're not alone. Well, she's kind of alone, Adrian says. Her boyfriend's not even here. Maya sends him a glare that could melt steel. What? Adrian says defensively. It's true. Unfortunately, he's right. The last time I'd seen Nathan was 6 weeks ago. He'd cupped my face, his gray eyes serious and tired and full of something that made my chest ache. I'll be back before Christmas, he'd promised. Before you know it. You'd better be, I'd said, trying for sarcastic but landing closer to desperate, because if you leave me alone for the holidays, I'm telling everyone embarrassing stories about you. He'd smiled that rare soft smile he only gave me. I don't have embarrassing stories. You drool in your sleep, I'd replied. He'd looked positively affronted. I do not. You totally do. Sometimes you mumble about interesting facts you've read. It's adorable and embarrassing equally. He'd kissed me then, slow and thorough, like memorizing my taste. I love you, he'd said quietly. This will be over soon. I promise. I sigh. Maybe it would mean something to him if I tried. If I actually made an effort with the people he loves, tried fitting in with his Christmas traditions. Not like I have any of my own. Maybe if I could ensure that when he finally arrives, he gets to actually relax instead of running an event when he's supposed to be on holiday. God knows the man never stops working. I take a deep breath. How many people are coming? Maya brightens. Oh, it's not even the whole pack, just really close members. It'll be fun, you'll see. Okay, that sounds manageable. How many? Only 50, Maya says. 15, I exclaim. 50, Adrian corrects, earning death glares from both me and Maya. The word lands like a brick. 50, half 100. I don't even know 50 people from this pack. The clipboard guy clears his throat nervously. Luna, if you could just tell us. I'm processing, I tell him, holding up a finger. Give me a minute. I'm trying to figure out where I can escape when the front door opens with cold air and raised voices. Absolutely ridiculous that we're last to arrive, a stern male voice says. I told you we should have left earlier, Catherine. My stomach drops. Nathan's adoptive parents just walked in. I've met Marcus and Catherine Montgomery exactly once at a pack gathering 3 months ago. It consisted mostly of them looking at me like I was a stain on their expensive furniture. "Lily," Marcus says, not cold but not warm either. "I see you've arrived." "Yep," I say, "here I am." Catherine's eyes sweep over me, taking in my Nirvana t-shirt. "We thought something had happened, you arriving so late when there's so much to be done." The implication is clear. I should have been here earlier. "Traffic," I lie. "I see," Catherine says in a tone suggesting disbelief. As they turn away, I try thinking of ways this conversation could have gone worse but come up short. "They're always like that," Maya says, leaning close. "Don't worry." It's not reassuring. Especially when 2 seconds later Catherine's face transforms into a genuinely warm smile as she exclaims, "There you are, my darling." I turn to see a beautiful redhead entering through a side door, one hand on her very pregnant belly. She's wearing a cream sweater that looks both expensive and effortless. Her dark red hair is pulled back in a way that definitely took effort to look effortless. Of course, Sarah looks perfect. Everything Sarah does is perfect. She is essentially perfect. Catherine rushes over, embracing her carefully, while Marcus's stern expression softens into something approaching fondness. "How are you feeling?" Catherine asks. "Is the baby?" "Everything's fine," Sarah assures them with a warm smile. Her light green eyes flick briefly to me, then back to the Montgomerys. "Don't worry about a thing. I know this is Lily's first time organizing a pack Christmas, so I've made sure everything's under control." I pause. "Wait, what?" "Oh, that's wonderful," Catherine says, relief obvious. "We knew we could count on you." I roll my eyes. Of course they love Sarah. Everyone loves Sarah almost as much as they love Nathan, which is fine. I don't need to be loved by the pack. I just need to Lily. I turn to see Sarah approach. Something's off about her expression. She looks anxious, which is weird because Sarah never looks anxious. "Are you okay?" she asks, nervous edge in her voice. "Why wouldn't I be?" I lie my default setting. "I only just got here a minute ago to learn complete strangers were counting on me to run an event the size of a small wedding." Sarah smiles placatingly. "I can help. I'll handle it, okay? All of it. You won't have to lift a finger." I blink. This is even worse than I thought. "Okay, you don't have to be that worried, Sarah," I tell her defensively. "I'm not a total disaster. I'm sure I can manage." "Of course you can," Sarah exclaims even more nervously. "I just thought, you haven't seen Nathan in a while. You'll probably be happy to relax and spend time with him instead of worrying about all this." I stare at her. That's actually kind of thoughtful, especially from an 8 months pregnant woman. Too thoughtful, actually, and very unlike Sarah. "Well, Nathan's not here yet," I attempt slowly. "So you just relax, sit back, I've got you." "I've got you," Sarah assures me, smiling a smile that's way too wide. It doesn't reach her eyes. Now I'm really suspicious. "Sarah," I say carefully, "if I let you, the heavily pregnant woman, do all the work instead of me, I'm going to look like the world's most incompetent fool at best, or a total bitch at worst." I pause, studying her face. "Though perhaps that's what you want." Sarah's face crumples. Her eyes go wide and hurt, and she looks like she might cry. "Not at all, Lily," she says, voice cracking. "I just want to help. I wouldn't sabotage you like that." She looks so genuinely devastated, I immediately feel terrible. "Okay, sorry," I say quickly. It's just you, I trail off, catching Sarah's expectant expression. It's just that from the moment Nathan and I got together, she's made it clear I was nowhere near good enough for him. Every time he touches me in public, she literally stiffens. That said, though, she hasn't really done that since getting pregnant. She's been different, mellowed, less judgmental. Still, this is extreme even for mellowed-out Sarah. We can work together, I guess, I offer. Sarah's entire face lights up. Oh, that's perfect. She grabs my hands, squeezing them. Okay, so I'll handle seating arrangements, food coordination, decorations, the schedule, making sure staff knows what to do, coordinating with caterers. And oh, she beams at me. Lily, you can be in charge of making sure there are enough napkins. I blink. Napkins. It's very important, Sarah says seriously. We need cloth napkins, obviously, not paper, and they need to match table settings. I'll make sure you have a list of exactly how many we need and where to put them and where to get them. She squeezes my hands once more, then bustles off toward staff members, calling out instructions about table placement. Napkins. She's going to run the entire thing, and I need to look after napkins. Maya, I say, not taking my eyes off Sarah's retreating form. I know what you're going to say. You do, Maya asks. Yes, you're going to say people change and it's Christmas and maybe Sarah just wants to be nice, I mutter. But I think, oh no, Maya says, shaking her head. That was weird as fuck. Something's up with her. I turn to stare at my best friend. Maya, who always sees the best in people. Maya, who could find a silver lining in a natural disaster. If even Maya thinks something's wrong, then something is definitely seriously wrong. What do you think it is? I ask nervously. Maya shakes her head, watching Sarah direct staff with manic energy. I have no idea, but whatever it is, it's big. Great, I groan. Just great. I pull out my phone again, still nothing from Nathan. This is going to be a disaster. I can feel it. Chapter 2. Sarah, the kitchen smells like cinnamon and roasted pine nuts, the sharp bite of fresh rosemary someone's chopping at the far counter. And underneath it all, stress sweat from the catering staff. No, I'm saying to the head chef. We'll need 3 different vegetarian options because we have PAC members with dietary restrictions. I pause. My baby shifts inside me, an elbow or maybe a knee pressing against my ribs. I have to take a breath and press one hand to my stomach. The baby settles somewhat. The appetizers need to be passed no later than 7, I continue, studying my clipboard even though I've memorized every item. I made this list at 4 a.m. when I couldn't sleep, lying in bed next to Chris, listening to him breathe. We're expecting at least 50 people, possibly more if family from New England decide to show. I pause again as I catch a whiff of Chris's scent. My shoulders drop half an inch before I can stop them, tension I didn't know I was carrying suddenly easing. I resent it immediately. Now is not the time to relax. Now is the time to make sure everything is perfect. And the mulled wine needs to be ready by 6. I continue louder than necessary. People will want something warm when... Babe. Chris's voice, rough with sleep. I can hear him moving behind me, smell the coffee he hasn't had yet, the faint scent of sheets still clinging to him. I don't look up from my clipboard. The timing on the dinner service is crucial, so we need to make sure everyone understands the schedule. Babe, Chris says, entering my line of vision. Oh, I smile at him. You're here, I didn't see you. Chris rolls his eyes. He knows I'm lying. He always knows when I'm lying. That's what happens when you've known someone since you were 13. When you've hurt each other and loved each other and finally figured out how to be together. He knows me better than anyone. Sometimes I wish he didn't. Right, he says dryly, because my incredibly subtle presence and attempts to get your attention were so easy to miss. He's teasing, but there's concern underneath. I can hear it in his voice, see it in the way he's studying my face, looking for cracks. I turn back to Marie before he can see them. The ham needs to be glazed every 20 minutes and someone needs to check on but Chris is closer now. I can feel the heat of him at my back. Then his hand is on my waist, warm, solid, possessive. Chris, I start, but it comes out breathy. His fingers spread across my hip, thumb rubbing small circles through my sweater's fabric. I feel his nose dragging along my neck's curve. He's scenting me deeply. His breath is hot against my skin. My clipboard nearly slips from my fingers. What are you doing? I manage. You're stressed, he says. It's bad for the baby. His hands tighten on my hips, pulling me back against him more firmly. I'm fine, I lie, leaning into him. You're not. His teeth graze my skin. His wolf is very close to the surface. I can hear it in the possessive urgency. Chris's wolf has been on edge for weeks ever since I entered my 3rd trimester. Every instinct screams at him to keep me and the baby safe. I don't totally hate it, to be honest. But right now is not a good time. I pull away gently but firmly. Sarah! Chris's hand is on my arm now. What are you doing up? Working, I reply. I can see that. He grabs an empty mug. I thought we agreed that in the mornings you'd stay in bed, have a lie-in, wait for me to bring you breakfast. It's past noon, Chris. I interrupt patiently, filling his mug with coffee. I already had to pee 6 times since 6 a.m. There was no way I was just going to stay in bed. I reach up and run my fingers through his hair, trying to tame the worst of the bedhead situation. It's hopeless. His hair has always had a mind of its own. I love his hair. I love the way it feels between my fingers. God, I love him. The thought comes unbidden and with it a sharp spike of guilt. I love him so much it terrifies me. I love him so much I destroyed someone else's happiness to keep him. Chris pouts over the rim of his mug. You should have woken me up. Oh, I tried. I laugh. This morning at 6:30 after my 2nd bathroom trip, I'd tried. Gently at first, a hand on his shoulder, his name spoken softly, then firmly. He'd mumbled something that sounded like tacos and rolled over, taking most of the blankets. Chris has always been a heavy sleeper. I remember being 16, trying to wake him for pack breakfast. Nathan had eventually given up and drawn a mustache on his face with marker. Chris had worn it for 3 hours before he noticed. The piercing screams of our future newborn are my last hope, I tell him. Chris takes a long sip of coffee. I watch his throat work as he swallows. Okay, fine, he says. But babe, go back to bed now. He tries to steer me away from the kitchen toward the door. His arm is solid around me, guiding me. And for a second, just a second, I want to let him, but I can't. Or chill on the couch or something, Chris continues. I'll make you a snack. I duck under his arm, slipping away. I can't, Chris. My voice comes out sharper than intended. There's just way too many things to get done for the party tonight. I feel Chris gape after me. The party. His voice climbs an octave. Sarah, I sure hope you don't mean the annual Christmas Eve party enormous pack gathering my parents insist we host every year. I turn back to him. What else would I mean? You can't be serious. Chris strides toward me. Sarah, every year that thing gets bigger, we host like an insane amount of guests. Which is exactly why I have to organize, I cut him off. The baby kicks hard, right under my ribs, a sharp jab that makes me catch my breath. I press my hand to the spot, rubbing gently. It's precisely why you shouldn't. Chris's voice is rising now. He points at my stomach, at our baby, accusingly. It's too stressful. You should be resting. The doctor said it could be any day now, and in case you haven't noticed, we're stuck in the mountains. It's fine, I say. There are at least 2 pack healers in attendance tonight. Chris growls. We barely even know them. Why are they in attendance? Seriously, what's up with these huge, fancy business meetings we have instead of Christmas? He's not wrong. That's what our Christmases have become over the years. Pack politics disguised as holiday celebrations. Alphas and betas from neighboring territories making alliances, showing strength. Look, Chris, I make my voice firm. This is important. Do you know what day it is today? Chris blinks. Christmas Eve. Of course, that's what he thinks. Because to Chris, Christmas Eve is about family and presents and too much food and getting drunk. It's not about politics or duty or the weight of leadership. Nathan takes care of that. Nathan always makes the annual Christmas party perfect. He remembers everyone's dietary restrictions, everyone's feuds and friendships, who needs to be seated far apart and who wants to be together. He takes care of everyone. I sigh and turn to the catering staff. Guys, what day is it today? Murray doesn't hesitate. It's the day the alpha comes home, miss. See, I snap my head back to look at Chris. Today's the day the alpha comes home. Chris is staring like I've sprouted a second head. What the? He shakes his head, bewildered. Babe, why are you calling him the alpha all of a sudden? That's so weird. Have you forgotten the number of times Nathan held your hair while you puked due to alcohol poisoning? Ow. I elbow him in the ribs hard. That happened one time, jackass. Still counts, Chris says. And the point is that Nathan is coming home today, I interrupt. Meaning he will not have time to oversee everything when he does. Or did you forget that he's been gone for months hunting down a psychotic hybrid and dismantling a criminal network while we couldn't help him because of my pregnancy? Chris is looking at me now with that laser-focused intensity he gets when he sees right through my bullshit. Sarah, he says quietly, and his voice has gone gentle. Nathan doesn't blame you for being pregnant. He's happy for us. My breath hitches. Of course he is. Of course he's happy for us. I remember his face when we told him about the baby. The way his gray eyes had lit up, the rare genuine smile that transformed his usually serious expression. My chest feels tight. My throat is closing. I know that. My voice comes out too high, too thin, not controlled at all. Chris's expression shifts, goes serious in a way it rarely does. He steps closer, lowering his voice so the catering staff can't hear. Sarah, he says softly, this is about the thing, isn't it? My hands start shaking. I clasp them together. What thing? Chris gives me a look, his blue eyes steady on mine. You know, his expression says, and I do. The alternate reality, the wish, the choice I made to sabotage Nathan and Lily's relationship so I could stay with Chris in that world. The way I chose myself over them. Nathan and Lily getting back together would have reset this alternate reality where I'd finally found happiness with Chris. At the time, I thought we would never be able to work things out in this one. I couldn't lose him, and so I deliberately separated Nathan from his mate. Not only that, but getting Lily out of the picture had put her in danger in the process. I hadn't done that knowingly because I deliberately didn't want to know, and she'd almost been killed because of me. Now they don't remember. Nathan and Lily have no memory of that other reality of what I did to them. Only I remember. Chris knows. I've told him. We agreed to move forward, be grateful for the baby, for each other, for the happy ending we got. But I can't let it go. The thing we don't talk about, Chris says when I don't respond. Then why are you talking about it? I ask, turning away sharply. Because you're being weird about Nathan's return. His voice rises slightly. I tense at the name. I'm not being weird. I'm setting up the event I've helped Nathan set up for years. We always co-host. Yeah, and this year you're pregnant with my child, Chris says, and there's something fierce in his voice now. And Nathan has a mate now to co-host. Chris, you know Nathan hasn't even begun explaining to Lily what being Luna entails, I remind him. He literally told us to shield her from it because she's already learning what it is to be a shifter, which is a lot. It had been shortly after they'd been mated. I don't want Lily troubled with all that Luna stuff when she's still learning to manage her new abilities, Nathan had said, his gray eyes serious. It's too much. She's already overwhelmed. Chris, sprawled in his chair with his usual lack of concern for proper posture, had smirked. More like you're worried she'll bolt when she finds out dating you comes with a stack of responsibilities the size of the continental divide. Nathan had given him a look that meant you're not wrong, but I'm not admitting it. Then he turned to me. I'm counting on you, Sarah. Make sure everyone leaves her alone. She has enough on her plate as it is. Yes, fine, you're right. He did say that. Chris concedes now, pulling me back to the present. But that was before you became pregnant. Chris, I interrupt him, and my voice has gone sharp, defensive. I don't know why we're even debating this. Less than a year ago, Lily was a human student with no family and no prospects. Obviously, she does not have the skills to run an event this big. So if I don't step in, she'll mess it all up and it'll be up to poor Nathan to compensate for her total lack of abilities again when... I interrupt myself when I notice Chris is pointing behind me. Oh no, I turn slowly. Lily is standing in the kitchen doorway, spine straight, jaw tight, shoulders squared. Oh God, no, Lily, I exclaim. How are you doing? Lily gives me a smile that's all teeth and zero warmth. Stellar. Her voice drips with sarcasm. I looked into your napkins. You wanted paper, right? For a second, I'm confused. Then I remember earlier I'd asked her to check on the napkins. Cloth. The word bursts out of me, scandalized. I can't help it. Paper napkins at a pack Christmas. Lily, we need cloth napkins matched to the table settings, properly pressed. Lily rolls her eyes. Right, she snaps. Must have escaped me with my poor background and total lack of skills. Chris snorts beside me. I send him a death glare. Oh, come on, he says, not even trying to hide his amusement. You literally just said she was no help. No wonder she's annoyed. Not helping, I hiss. Lily is already turning to leave, her shoulders tight, her movements sharp with anger. Lily, wait. I move to follow her, but my pregnant belly makes me waddle more than walk. Sarah. Chris grabs my arm, trying to pull me back. He's going to start lecturing me now about letting Lily handle things herself, about resting. But I can't let Lily do this alone. I can't. I already abandoned her once in that other reality when I chose my happiness over hers and Nathan's. When I actively sabotaged their relationship, when I stood by and let her almost die. Yes, that reality was undone. Yes, she doesn't remember, but I remember. I remember what I did to her. How I dismissed her, undermined her, treated her like she was nothing, like she was an obstacle instead of a person. And I can't do that again. I won't. Baby, look, you need to relax, Chris starts. You know what? I spin around to face him. How about you help me? Huh, how's that? Chris looks startled. Me. His tone says it all. Me, help organize a party. Have you lost your mind? And he's right to be surprised. Chris has never helped run an event in his entire life. He shows up, he drinks, he charms everyone. He's the life of the party. But organize, plan, execute. Chris doesn't do those things. Yes, you, my love. I give him my biggest, brightest smile, the one he knows means I'm not being nice, I'm challenging him. The one that says, prove me wrong. It works. I can see it in the way his jaw sets and his eyes flash. He's never been able to resist a challenge, especially not from me. Fine, Chris says, squaring his shoulders. Yes, I'll help, darling. He drags out the endearment, making it a mockery. Happy to. We smile at each other. It's not a nice smile on either end. It's a we're both being stubborn and we'll see who cracks first smile. It's the same smile we've been giving each other since we were teenagers, since the first time we fought over something stupid and both refused to back down. You will run the kitchen with the caterers, I say sweetly. Great, Chris replies, matching my tone exactly. As you know, I continue, watching his face carefully for the moment reality hits. They'll all be leaving soon to go to their families, so it'll be up to you to find people to help in the kitchen and cook, warm up all the meals for lunch and dinner. Chris's face falls. What? And make the cocktails. Thomas pipes up helpfully from where he's stocking bottles at the back of the kitchen. Yes, I say, batting my eyelashes innocently. Didn't you know we always give the staff the holidays off and organize to run things ourselves as family for the holiday? The Alpha and I always thought it was more convivial that way. It was Nathan's idea originally. He thought it was wrong to make people work on Christmas Eve when they should be with their own families. So the staff sets everything up, then leaves around 3, and the pack handles the actual event. And I know full well Chris has never paid attention to these details. I'll look into it, he says through gritted teeth. Relief floods through me. He's going to be busy now, too busy to hover over me, too busy to ask uncomfortable questions about my feelings. Perfect. Lily, I call out, already moving toward the door as fast as my waddle will allow. Let's talk napkins. I can feel Chris's eyes on me as I leave. I can sense his concern, his frustration, his love, but I have to make things right. I have to make Lily's life easier so Nathan's life can be easier. And so this weight on my shoulders can perhaps finally lift. Chapter 3. Lily, can you believe her? I screech. Like because I used to bartend, I can't pick out napkins. Is she for real? I'm pacing back and forth across the guest bedroom I've claimed as my temporary refuge from the absolute insanity downstairs. You know, I've had about enough of her holier-than-thou attitude, I go on. Like she's so perfect. You know that she got pregnant from her mate in another reality, but somehow I'm the problem because I don't have a family and I wasn't born a shifter. Like, how is that even my fault? My feet are wearing a path in the expensive rug, probably some antique Persian thing. Good, maybe I'll wear a hole in it. Look, I declare, I shouldn't even be saying this, but you're like the wisest person I've ever met, so I know you'll keep it to yourself. I take a breath. This has been sitting on my chest for months, and it needs to come out. How is she so possessive of Nathan when she's literally pregnant with his cousin's baby? Like what? She needs both to be happy or something. That's weird and incestuous and weird. I cross my arms, waiting for validation. The only thing I get is the sound of electronic beeping and music from what is most likely a Super Mario game. Are you listening to me? I prompt. What? Emma curses silently at her screen. Sorry, but I'm having trouble with the final boss. I stomp my foot. Emma, are you serious right now? I'm having a crisis and you're focusing on some stupid game. The girl finally deigns to look up from her console and her expression is so fed up I almost laugh despite myself. I'm a 12-year-old kid, Lily, she points out. What did you expect? Emma, be serious here, I shoot back. You know I trust no one's opinion more than yours. That's sad, man, she tells me. But I'm right, aren't I? I press, needing the validation. I mean, Sarah is being a total pain here. Emma makes a sharp shushing noise, her hand coming up in a silencing gesture. Let me think, she says. She goes very still. Her eyes unfocus slightly and her head tilts to the side like she's listening to something. Right, so... Emma glances briefly to her left and frowns, nods like someone just told her something. Look, I think you should keep in mind that Sarah is pregnant right now and so in a vulnerable place. I stare at her. What's that supposed to mean? She's about to bring a baby into the world, Emma continues. Her entire life is going to change. You can't blame her for wanting stability, reassurance. I shake my head in disbelief. Excuse me, but how would you even know about that? You're 12. You just said I was wise, Emma snaps, some of her usual kid attitude returning. Doesn't mean you need to sound like the Dalai Lama, I snap. It's freaky. Emma rolls her eyes dramatically. Look, hormones and shit, she's feeling sensitive, all right? I nod. Yeah, okay, that's... Also, Emma adds, every wolf in the vicinity is going to be smelling her soon-to-arrive innocent child on her and feeling extra protective. Yes, even your mate. She gives me a pointed look and my stomach drops. So if I were you, Emma continues, I wouldn't go face-to-face with Sarah right now. You'll lose by default. Everyone is going to be on her side. I groan, throwing my head back. Everyone is always on her side, Emma. She's Little Miss Perfect. The only person who was remotely willing to criticize her is now sleeping with her. I stop, realize what I just said. I mean, is in a relationship with her. I know what sex is, Lily, Emma snorts. Of course you do. Anyway, I say, trying to redirect. What am I supposed to do? Let her walk all over me? Yeah, I guess. Emma shrugs. Look, she wants to run this entire event instead of you. Let her, less work for you. I consider this. It's logical, practical, and honestly Nathan would probably tell me the same thing. God, I wish he was here. I guess, I concede, but everyone is going to think she's done amazing again while I look lazy and incompetent in comparison. So what? Emma meets my eyes. You already pale in comparison, nothing new. I grimace. But maybe if I step up and plan a really nice evening for all those fancy shifter people I've never met, maybe for once people will see Sarah isn't like a gazillion times better than me. That's a big maybe, Emma says. Not to mention only achievable if you pull it off, which is a big if. Fine. I throw my hands up. So I give up, competition over. She wins. I stomp toward the door, feeling childish and not caring. At least someone here is treating me like an actual person instead of a disappointing substitute for whatever perfect Luna they were expecting. I realize halfway down the hall that I haven't thanked Emma for her advice, so I quickly turn back, walk toward the kids' bedroom, and freeze at the door. Emma is looking to her left again at that empty space, and she's talking quietly like she doesn't want me to hear. I told her what you said about Sarah feeling vulnerable or whatever. What else would you have me do? A pause like she's listening to a response, except there's no one in the room with her. Nah, Lily's right. Sarah is kind of a bitch. I slip out of the room silently, my new shifter picking up more of Emma's one-sided conversation even as I close the door. I make it maybe 3 steps down the hallway before nearly colliding with Maya. There you are, she exclaims, grabbing my arms to steady us both. You're back. Relief floods through me. Maya went to pick up Rose from the train station, Adrian's little sister who, like Adrian, bears the vampire gene but unlike him hasn't changed into one yet. Did you get Rose? I ask. Yeah, she's settling in. Maya beams. If someone had told me last year we'd be celebrating our next Christmas with Nathan's mate, Sarah pregnant with Chris's child, and vampires, I wouldn't have believed it. Despite everything, I laugh. The craziest one being. Definitely the pregnancy, Maya says without hesitation before adding, Hey, is Emma in her room? Yeah, but I pause, glancing back at the closed door. She's doing that thing again. Maya's face falls. The thing where the imaginary friend thing. Yeah. I gesture for us to move further down the hallway away from the door. Do you think we should take her to therapy? Nathan said she should go to therapy, to which I said he was a total hypocrite because he won't go to therapy. A massive crashing sound erupts from somewhere downstairs. Even from up here with walls and floors between us, I hear it clearly. What was that? I ask, already moving toward the stairs. Maya shakes her head, confused. I have no idea. We hurry downstairs, following the noise and the smell of something burning. Multiple somethings burning. The acrid scent reaches my nose before we even get to the kitchen, making my eyes water. We round the corner and, what the? I stop dead in the doorway. The kitchen looks like a war zone. No, worse. Like a war zone where the losing side was armed exclusively with baking supplies. There are not 1 but 2 small fires, actual flames crackling in 2 different pans on the stove. Flour coats every surface like freshly fallen snow, but less magical and more apocalyptic. Eggs are smashed on the floor, yolks spreading in bright yellow pools. Something that might have once been vegetables is scattered across the counter. And there's a pot boiling over, sending starchy water cascading onto the stovetop with an angry hiss. In the middle of this chaos stands Chris, his blonde hair dusted white with flour. Chris, what is happening? I ask, my voice climbing despite my best efforts to stay calm. Maya is already moving, grabbing a fire extinguisher from the wall with the efficiency of someone who's been through pack disaster training. "Fuck if I know," Chris says. "The catering staff left me this list, right?" They were like, "Chris, you just need to do these simple things," and they gave me this whole. He gestures wildly at a piece of paper covered in complicated instructions. "This entire list of times and temperatures, and let it rest and baste every 15 minutes. And I was like, "Okay, sure, I can handle that." Maya sprays white foam over the fires. They sizzle and die. "But then," Chris continues, clearly spiraling, "Sarah came in and gave me additional instructions, which were different. She was all the lamb needs to be at 325, but the caterer said 350. And then she said something about the roasting vegetables needing to be stirred. And I tried to do both, and then everything started burning at once." "Chris," I interrupt, "just tell me what happened to the food." Maya is checking the ovens now. She opens the first one and a wave of smoke pours out. She coughs, waving it away. "Your 3 roasts have been carbonized," she observes, setting the pan on the counter with a dull thunk. Chris's face crumbles. "Well, at least there's a 4th one." Maya checks another oven. "Nah, it's burnt too." "Fuck." Chris slams his hand on the counter, sending up a poof of flour. The kitchen door swings open and Adrian enters, Rose trailing behind him. They both stop short, taking in the scene. "Oh my God," Rose breathes. "What happened here?" "We're basically out of food," Chris says, and his voice cracks slightly. "The caterers left us with all the preparation done and I've burnt it, all of it. We have 50 people coming in." He checks his watch. "Less than 2 hours and we have nothing to feed them. Sarah is going to kill me or worse, leave me." Adrian, who's moved to the bar area, is already mixing something. He pours an amber-colored concoction into a glass and hands it to Chris. "Down this, mate," Adrian says. "Looks like you'll be needing it." Chris knocks it back in one swallow. "Good stuff," he says automatically, then goes right back to panicking. "But seriously, what are we going to do? Everyone's going to arrive expecting this amazing feast and we have nothing." "Okay," I interrupt, opening cabinets, checking the fridge. "What's actually salvageable?" Maya joins me and together we take inventory. Most of the roasts are burnt beyond recognition, but there are vegetables that are only slightly charred. We can work with those. There's bread that's untouched, cheese, some appetizers that were pre-made and just need to be plated. It's not great. It's nowhere near enough for 50 people, but it's something. "Okay." I turn to face the group. "Chris, you're going to plate these appetizers, make them look nice. Use the fancy plates, whatever. We need to start serving something in the next 30 minutes. Chris nods, looking grateful for clear instructions. "Maya, you're going to help me salvage what we can from the vegetables. We'll call them rustic and roasted and hope nobody asks questions." "On it," Maya agrees. I turn to Adrian. "Cocktails, can you make everyone loads of cocktails?" Adrian's face lights up. "Of course," he says, already moving back to the bar. "What did you have in mind?" "Make a big pot of mulled wine," I tell him. "A big pot of eggnog and Pimm's. Can you make Pimm's, darling?" "I can make anything," Adrian says, and he actually grins. "Just a heads up," Maya appears at my elbow. "Shifters don't get easily drunk, so you'll need to use the special alcohol." She points to a cabinet. "It's marked, but also like don't taste it at all." Adrian looks scandalized. Don't taste it. How am I supposed to know if it's properly balanced? Adrian, Maya interrupts, giving him a look. Make it work. Rose has been quietly observing all of this, and now she steps forward. What can I do? I look at her, 16 years old human, probably has no idea what she's gotten herself into by coming here. I know the feeling. Help Adrian, I decide. Keep him from tasting things. Rose nods, taking her assignment seriously. Okay, Chris says, but what about the main course? We can't just serve appetizers. He's right, we can't. I think we need to ask for Sarah's opinion, Chris, I tell him. I'm sorry. Chris's expression crumbles. No, you're right, he says quickly. You're right, we should tell her. She needs to know. A pause. Can you tell her? I want to say no, but looking at him, flower-covered, panic-stricken, clearly at the end of his rope, I can't. Fine, I say. I'll find Sarah. I suppose it might be fun telling her the father of her child-destroyed Christmas dinner. I mean, for once none of this mess is my fault. Great, just great, I mutter. Fine, I'll find her and tell her. But Chris, we need to figure out a backup plan like now. Okay. Chris nods, looking relieved to have someone else taking charge. Okay, yeah, we'll figure it out. I'll find Sarah, I repeat, already moving toward the door. I try her scent first, that particular combination of jasmine and something sharp I can't quite name. But it's like being at a perfume counter in a department store after someone sprayed every single bottle. Olfactory assault. I check the main hall. Not there. The sitting room empty. The formal dining room where people are starting to gather, no Sarah. Luna, an older woman with silver-streaked hair, grabs my arm like I'm a life raft. Where should we put the gifts? Nathan usually designates a specific table. I look around helplessly. By the tree. I keep moving. Lily, a man I don't recognize, waves me over. We're having a debate about whether to set up the children's activities in the sunroom or the library. Sunroom. I say without stopping. More people keep arriving. I can hear the front door opening and closing, hear the greetings and exclamations, hear the growing noise level. And everyone asks the same question. Where's Nathan? When is the alpha arriving? Have you seen him, Lily? I don't know, I want to yell. Maybe he's stuck in traffic. Maybe he's fighting a vampire shifter hybrid. Maybe he's decided to become a hermit and live in the woods. All equally plausible at this point. I pull out my phone again. Check it, still nothing. I tell myself I don't care. I tell myself I'm mad at him anyway for leaving me to deal with this without any preparation. You know what? When he arrives, I'm going to ignore him completely. Make him work for my attention. Oh, who am I kidding? The second he walks through that door, I'm going to tackle him. Or punch him. Could go either way, really. Lily, another voice calls out. I turn to find a woman I vaguely recognize from pack gatherings. Late 30s, elegant in a silk blouse and tailored pants. Her dark hair is pulled back in a severe bun that looks like it's giving her a facelift through sheer tension alone. Hi, I say, trying to place her. She's someone important, I think. Someone who's always near Marcus and Catherine at events. So good to see you, she says, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. Actually, her smile looks painted on, like she practiced it in a mirror while saying, I'm definitely not judging you, over and over. So I've been meaning to ask, what are you getting Nathan for Christmas? The question catches me off guard. Really? That's what she stopped me for, to ask about Nathan's gift. Oh, nothing big. I shrug because it's true. She laughs, but it sounds like wind chimes made of condescension. I completely understand. He's impossible to shop for, isn't he? It's like he doesn't like anything. My eyebrows go up. Excuse me, he does like things. It must be so hard, she interrupts, not even listening. Having to find him a gift when you've only been together for a few months. I remember when Nathan and I were dating, I could never figure out what to get him either. Wait, hold up. She dated Nathan. My brain screeches to a halt like a car hitting black ice. This woman with her paint-by-numbers smile and her bun so tight it could double as a medieval torture device, dated my mate. I look at her with new eyes, trying to picture Nathan with her. Nope, can't do it. My brain is refusing to cooperate with this image. But if you want, she continues, I could give you some advice. I probably know him better than... Oh no, she didn't. I know what my mate likes, I interrupt. Thank you, though. I turn away before I say something I'll regret, or more likely, before I say something I won't regret, but everyone else will think I should because apparently no one appreciates crass sexual innuendos anymore. I'm still coming up with good ones when there's a massive cracking sound from outside. Everyone stops and goes quiet, a minute to honor the dead of sorts. Because outside, the enormous 15-foot Christmas tree that someone spent all afternoon decorating has committed suicide via gravity. Through the window I see lights tangled, ornaments scattered like the aftermath of a glitter bomb, branches splayed across the driveway. Oh my God, someone whispers. How did that even? Where's Nathan? I hear a guy ask. Nathan would have checked the stand. I roll my eyes and groan. And there it is again. Nathan would have. Nathan could have. Seriously, do these people need Nathan to tell them when to go to the toilet too, or what? I mean, at this point he's my mate, the literal other half of my soul, and even I am more independent from him than this crowd. I see someone coming near me, ready to ask me a question. I can already guess. You know what? No, Nathan isn't here. And yes, the tree fell, I tell him before he can speak. Deal with it, keep calm, move on. Okay, we're just having a rustic Christmas, I tell myself. Very authentic. Very things go wrong, but we persevere. Honestly beats last year's bar and the elf costume. Doesn't beat binging the Die Hard trilogy with ice cream, but then again, what does? Actually, Miss Lily, the guy who came to find me attempts, I was sent to tell you that. He doesn't finish his sentence because all the lights go out, all of them. The entire house plunges into darkness. Someone screams. Calm down, I shout. Everyone stay calm. It's probably just a blown fuse or the generator's out. The backup's not kicking in. Someone yells from somewhere deeper in the house. Of course it's not. Why would anything work properly today? Does anyone have a flashlight? I call into the darkness. I've got one on my phone, someone answers. Small lights start appearing, phone flashlights creating little pools of illumination in the dark. Okay, I say. Someone go check the generator. Someone else find candles. Everyone else just stay where you are and chill, I guess. Meanwhile, I'm internally screaming. We were supposed to be keeping food warm in the ovens, and we need light for people to see their drinks. And I have no idea where Nathan is. Candles, someone appears with an armful of them. I found the emergency candles. Great, I say. Start lighting them everywhere. Make this place look romantic and intentional instead of like we're having a power crisis." "Intentional?" the guy asks, sounding confused. "It's called fake it till you make it, buddy. Trust me, I'm an expert," I reply, patting his shoulder. People start moving, lighting candles. Soon the house is glowing with warm, flickering light, the candles casting dancing shadows on the walls. And it actually looks kind of beautiful, atmospheric. Conversations drop to hushed tones. Maybe I can work with this. Maybe I'm like some kind of event planning genius instead of someone frantically improvising. Who knew? I'm surveying the candlelit room, mentally checking off tasks and trying to feel like I have any idea what I'm doing when Adrian appears. He's carrying a tray laden with drinks, steaming mugs that smell like cinnamon and alcohol and Christmas. Maya is behind him along with a guy from the pack I vaguely recognize. They're all carrying trays filled with drinks. "I can't find Sarah," I tell Maya quietly. "Well," she replies, "we finished a few appetizers, but there's barely enough for everyone. We'd need more and an actual main course." I turn to survey the room. People are settling in, talking, adjusting to the candlelight. The fallen tree has been temporarily forgotten. The lack of dinner hasn't been noticed yet, but they will notice. People can only drink so much before they realize there's no actual food. I turn back to Adrian. "Keep making eggnog," I tell him. "It's filling and hopefully the guests will be too. Wasted enough to notice the lack of food." Adrian finishes. I meet his gaze. "Can you make it happen?" Adrian nods, committed. "It would be my honor," he says, expression growing serious. "I'll make everything extra strong and hide the taste. They won't know what hit them." "Great." I square my shoulders. "And I'm going to go find Chris and tell him we should get pizza. I see no way out other than pizza, unless Chris knows the address for a catering service not only open on Christmas Eve but still available at 7 p.m., which, let's be honest, he probably doesn't. Nathan's going to walk in and find his Christmas event has devolved into drunk shifters eating dominoes by candlelight. Oh well. If he wanted things done a certain way, he should have at least called, texted, perhaps shared his itinerary. I'm not bitter. I shove my phone away and start tracking Chris by scent, following his particular pine and whiskey smell through the maze of other scents. Look at me using my shifter nose like a perfectly competent person. Who's useless now, Sarah? His scent leads me upstairs, away from the main party, down a hallway lined with family photos. Generations of Montgomerys staring down at me with serious expressions, probably judging me for the pizza plan. "Whatever," I mutter. "You're all dead. You don't get a vote." I follow Chris's scent to a door that's slightly ajar. A private reception room looks like. Smaller, more intimate than the main gathering spaces. I'm reaching for the handle when I hear voices inside. Sarah's voice, high-pitched and hysterical. Oh great, pregnant lady breakdown, just what this night needs. "I can't do it anymore, Chris," I hear her say. "I can't keep this to myself, I have to tell them." Chris's voice responds, lower, urgent. "You do not have to tell them." "I can't keep lying to Nathan." Sarah's voice cracks and she sounds close to tears. My hand freezes at the door. Did she just say she was lying to Nathan? I'm telling him," Sarah says. I'm telling him I purposely broke him off with Lily in the alternate timeline and that I nearly killed her. My hand drops from the door. I stand there, frozen in the hallway, my heart hammering so hard I can hear it in my ears. Sarah nearly killed me in an alternate timeline. What the heck does that mean? I should walk away. I should turn around, go back downstairs, pretend I never heard any of this. But my feet won't move. My hand is still hovering near the door handle, trembling slightly. Sarah, listen to me. Chris's voice is firm but gentle. You can't tell them. What good would it do? They don't remember. That timeline doesn't exist anymore. But I remember, Sarah sobs. I remember what I did, how I manipulated everything, how I kept them apart because I was selfish, because I wanted you and I was willing to sacrifice their happiness for mine. My breath catches in my throat. What is she talking about? You didn't know Lily would be in danger, Chris says. You made a choice based on incomplete information. That's the thing, Chris. Sarah's voice rises. I deliberately didn't want to know. I didn't ask questions. I didn't care what would happen to her as long as I got what I wanted, and she almost died because of me. The hallway seems to tilt beneath my feet. I reach out, pressing my palm against the wall to steady myself. That timeline was erased, Chris insists. Nathan and Lily got their happy ending. We got ours. The baby doesn't make it okay, Sarah cries. Don't you see? Every time I look at Lily, I see what I did to her. Every time Nathan thanks me for helping with pack business, for supporting him, I feel like a fraud. I don't deserve his trust. I don't deserve any of this. There's a long silence. I can hear Sarah crying softly, hear Chris murmuring something too low for me to catch. I need to tell them, Sarah says finally, her voice steadier now. I need to confess. Maybe then I can finally breathe. Maybe then this guilt will stop eating me alive. And what about the baby? Chris asks quietly. What about us? If you tell them everything changes, Nathan might never trust you again. The pack will look at you differently. Is that what you want? I don't know what I want. Sarah's voice breaks again. I just know I can't keep living with this secret. I can't keep pretending everything is fine when it's not. I've heard enough, more than enough. I push away from the wall and practically run down the hallway, my footsteps silent on the plush carpet. My mind is racing, trying to make sense of what I just heard. Alternate timeline. She broke us up. She nearly killed me. None of it makes sense, but the pain in Sarah's voice was real. The guilt was real. And somehow, despite everything, I believe her. I make it back to the main floor, weaving through the growing crowd of guests. The candlelight that seemed romantic minutes ago now feels oppressive, the shadows too deep, hiding too many secrets. Lily! Maya appears at my elbow, concern etched on her face. Are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. I start, but I don't know how to finish that sentence. I need air. I push through the crowd toward the front door, ignoring the questions, the greetings, the constant refrain of "Where's Nathan?" Outside, the cold mountain air hits me like a slap. I gulp it down, trying to clear my head. The fallen Christmas tree lies across the driveway like a casualty of war. Ornaments glitter in the darkness, catching the light from inside the house. Kind of fitting, actually. This whole night is a disaster. I pull out my phone again, staring at the blank screen. Still nothing from Nathan. Please! I whisper to the universe, to fate, to whatever force decided we were meant to be together. Please let him come home. Because I need him. I need to ask him about alternate timelines and impossible choices and whether love is ever really simple. And I need to decide what to do about what I just heard. Chapter 5. Sarah, she heard us. I say it flatly, staring at the door where I'd caught the faintest whiff of Lily's scent just before it faded away down the hall. Chris's head snaps toward the door. What, are you sure? I'm sure. I sink down onto the small sofa, one hand automatically going to my belly. The baby kicks as if sensing my distress. Her scent was right there. She must have been standing outside. Fuck! Chris runs his hands through his hair, making it stand up even more. Sarah, maybe she didn't hear everything. Maybe she heard enough, I interrupt. I know she did. I could smell her fear, her confusion. I close my eyes. This is it. This is what I deserve. Chris kneels in front of me, taking my hands in his. Stop. You don't deserve to be punished. You made a mistake. A human mistake. I laugh bitterly. I'm not human, Chris. None of us are, and what I did, that wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. A selfish, horrible choice. A choice you've been paying for every single day since, Chris says firmly. Sarah, look at me. I open my eyes, meeting his blue gaze. You're a good person, he says. You made one bad decision in an impossible situation. But everything you've done since then, helping Lily, supporting Nathan, trying to make things right, that counts for something. Does it? I whisper. Does it count if they don't know what I'm trying to make right? Before Chris can answer, there's a commotion from downstairs. Raised voices, excitement. He's here, the alpha is here. My heart stops. Nathan is home, and Lily just heard my confession. This is about to get very, very bad. Chapter 6. Lily, the sound of Nathan's truck crunching over gravel is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. I spin around from where I'm standing by the fallen tree, watching as headlights cut through the darkness. The truck comes to a stop and the driver's door opens. And there he is. 6'3" of solid muscle and stubborn determination, his dark hair slightly too long, his gray eyes scanning the scene. The fallen tree, the darkened house, me standing alone in the cold, with that analytical intensity that makes him such a good archaeologist and such a terrible relaxer. Lily, he says, and my name on his lips is like coming home. I don't remember deciding to run. One second I'm standing there, the next I'm launching myself at him. He catches me easily, his arms coming around me, solid and safe and real. You're here, I breathe against his neck, inhaling his scent, pine and old books and something uniquely him. You're finally here. I'm here, he murmurs, one hand coming up to cradle the back of my head. I'm sorry it took so long. The hybrid situation got complicated, and then there were issues with... I pull back to look at him. I don't care, you're here now. He studies my face, his expression growing concerned. What's wrong? What happened? How does he always know? How can he read me so perfectly? Everything, I say with a laugh that's almost a sob. Everything is wrong. The power's out, the tree fell, Chris burned all the food. There are 50 people inside expecting a feast, and all we have are appetizers and very strong eggnog. Your ex-girlfriend stopped me to give me gift-giving advice, and I stop. Because how do I explain what I just heard? How do I even begin to talk about alternate timelines and betrayals that apparently never happened but somehow still matter? And Nathan prompts gently. And I missed you, I finish, which is true even if it's not the whole truth. I really, really missed you. His expression softens in that way it only does for me. I missed you too, more than you know. He kisses me then, slow and deep, and for a moment everything else fades away. The disaster of a party, Sarah's confession, the weight of expectations, none of it matters. There's just Nathan and me and the promise we made to each other. When we finally break apart, he rests his forehead against mine. Okay, he says, let's go deal with this disaster together. Together, right, we're supposed to be a team. Nathan, I start, but I'm interrupted by the front door bursting open. Alpha, someone calls out. Thank God you're here, we need your help with the generator. And the seating arrangements, someone else adds. And the gift exchange schedule, a third voice chimes in. Nathan sighs, but there's a smile tugging at his lips. Duty calls. Wait, I grab his hand before he can turn toward the house. There's something I need to tell you about Sarah. His expression sharpens. Sarah, is she okay, the baby? She's fine, they're both fine, it's just I hesitate. How do I explain this? I overheard her talking to Chris. She was saying something about an alternate timeline, about breaking us up, about me almost dying. Nathan goes very still. What? I know it sounds crazy, but Nathan, she was so upset. She said she's been lying to you, that she feels guilty about something that happened in another timeline or reality, or I don't know, none of it makes sense, but she was talking about confessing to you. Nathan's jaw tightens. For a long moment, he doesn't say anything, just stares past me at the darkened house. Nathan, I prompt. Do you know what she's talking about? He closes his eyes briefly, and when he opens them again, there's a weariness there I've never seen before. I need to talk to Sarah, right now. Wait, you do know something. I step in front of him. Nathan, what's going on? What is she talking about? It's complicated, he says, which is not an answer. Then uncomplicate it, I snap. I'm tired of being kept in the dark. I'm tired of everyone tiptoeing around me like I'm too fragile to handle the truth. I died, Nathan. I literally died and came back. I think I can handle whatever this is. He looks at me for a long moment, and I can see him weighing his words, deciding how much to tell me. There was a wish, he says finally. A supernatural wish that created an alternate reality. In that reality, you and I weren't together. Sarah was with Chris and she was happy. But the witch who granted the wish warned that if you and I found our way back to each other in that reality, it would collapse and we'd return to this one. My mind is reeling. A wish, an alternate reality. Nathan, what? Sarah knew, he continues, his voice tight. She knew that if we got back together, she'd lose Chris, so she tried to keep us apart. She didn't know it would put you in danger, but her actions. He trails off. Her actions almost got me killed, I finish, the pieces clicking into place. In that other reality. Yes, Nathan says simply. But then the reality collapsed anyway. We came back. And Sarah and Chris found their way to each other here too. Everything worked out. Except Sarah remembers, I say slowly. She remembers what she did and it's eating her alive. She shouldn't remember, Nathan frowns. The witch said, but she does, I interrupt. And she's been carrying this guilt for months. Nathan, she's about to have a baby. She's stressed and hormonal and convinced she doesn't deserve any of this happiness because of what she did in a reality that doesn't even exist anymore. Nathan's expression shifts, concern replacing the weariness. I need to talk to her. We need to talk to her, I correct. Together, remember. He studies me for a moment, then nods. Together. We head toward the house, but before we reach the door, it opens and Sarah steps out. Her face is pale in the candlelight, her hand protectively over her belly. Behind her, Chris hovers, looking torn between supporting his mate and giving her space. "Nathan," Sarah says, her voice barely above a whisper. "You're home." "Sarah," Nathan's voice is gentle in a way I've rarely heard. "I think we need to talk." Sarah's eyes fill with tears. "You know, Lily told you." "She told me what she heard," Nathan says carefully. "But I think I need to hear it from you." Sarah nods, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I'm sorry," she chokes out. "I'm so sorry. I was selfish and cruel and I almost..." She can't finish, her breath hitching on a sob. Nathan moves forward and to my surprise, he pulls Sarah into a gentle hug, careful of her belly. "It's okay," he says softly. "It's okay." "It's not okay," Sarah cries against his shoulder. "I betrayed you. I betrayed Lily. I chose my happiness over everything else." "And I would have done the same thing," Nathan says, pulling back to look at her. "Sarah, if someone told me I could have Lily or save the world, I'd let the world burn. We all make impossible choices when it comes to the people we love." Sarah looks up at him, disbelief written across her face. "But I made a choice that ultimately didn't matter," Nathan interrupts. "Because we're all here, we're all together, and everyone got their happy ending." "I don't deserve to be forgiven," Sarah whispers. "Maybe not," I say, stepping forward. Sarah's eyes widen as she looks at me. "But I'm forgiving you anyway." "Lily," Sarah starts. "Look," I interrupt. "I'm not going to pretend I'm not freaked out by all this alternate timeline, supernatural wish stuff, because I am. It's weird and complicated and honestly kind of gives me a headache just thinking about it." Nathan makes a sound that might be a laugh. "But," I continue, "I've seen how you've been trying to help me, how you've been organizing this whole event even though you're 8 months pregnant and should be resting, how you've been carrying this guilt around like a weight." I take a breath. I don't remember what happened in that other reality, and honestly, I don't want to. This reality, this life, this is what matters. And in this life, you're about to have a baby with the man you love, and Nathan and I are together, and everything is exactly how it's supposed to be. Sarah is crying harder now, but there's something like hope dawning on her face. "You really mean that?" "I really mean that," I confirm. "Though I reserve the right to be annoyed with you about the napkin thing. Seriously, Sarah, napkins." Sarah laughs through her tears. I panicked. I wanted to help, but I also didn't want to overwhelm you, and napkins seemed safe. "Napkins are never safe," I deadpan, and even Nathan cracks a smile at that. "Okay," Chris steps forward, putting his arm around Sarah. "So we're good, everyone's forgiven, no more guilt." "Everyone's forgiven," Nathan confirms. "No more guilt." He fixes Sarah with a stern look. "But you need to promise me something." Sarah nods quickly. "Anything." "Promise me you'll stop trying to do everything yourself. You're pregnant. You should be resting, not running a Christmas party for 50 people." "But," Sarah starts to protest. "No buts," Nathan says firmly. "We have help. We have family. Let people take care of you for once." Sarah looks like she wants to argue, but then the baby kicks hard enough that we can all see it. She winces, pressing a hand to her side. "Okay," she says softly. "Okay, I promise." Good, Nathan says, then turns to survey the chaos around us, the fallen tree, the darkened house, the muffled sounds of the party inside. Now let's go save this Christmas. About that, I start. We might need to order pizza. Nathan looks at me. Pizza. Chris burned all the roasts, I explain. It's a long story. Hey, Chris protests. Sarah gave me conflicting instructions. I did not. Sarah argues back, but she's smiling now. Nathan shakes his head, but he's smiling too. All right. Pizza it is. I'll call Marco's. They usually stay open late on Christmas Eve. They deliver up here, I ask, surprised. For me? Yes, Nathan says with a confidence that shouldn't be sexy but definitely is. We head inside together and immediately people swarm Nathan with questions and concerns and requests. But he handles it all with practiced ease, delegating tasks, solving problems, making people feel heard and valued. This is what he does. This is who he is, the alpha who takes care of everyone. But every few minutes his eyes find mine across the room, and there's a promise in that gaze. Later. We'll have time later. And somehow, miraculously, the party comes together. The pizza arrives, 15 large pies that Nathan somehow convinces Marco to personally deliver. Adrian's extremely strong cocktails have everyone in a festive mood. The candlelight that was supposed to be a disaster actually creates a warm, intimate atmosphere. People tell stories, laugh, share gifts. The children, including Emma, though she'd never admit to being grouped with them, run around hyped up on sugar and excitement. And in the middle of it all, I catch Sarah's eye across the room. She's sitting on the couch, Chris's arm around her, and for the first time since I've known her, she looks relaxed, at peace. She smiles at me and I smile back. It's not a forced smile or a polite smile or a competitive smile. It's a real smile. An understanding between two women who both love the same people and are finally figuring out how to exist in each other's lives without all the drama. You okay? Nathan appears at my side, handing me a glass of mulled wine. Yeah, I say, leaning into him. You know, despite the power outage and the tree casualty and the great roast massacre of this evening, this might actually be turning into a nice Christmas. That's because you're here, Nathan says, pressing a kiss to my temple. You make everything better. Smooth talker, I accuse, but I'm grinning. Just honest, he counters. We stand there together, watching the party unfold around us, and I think about everything that led to this moment. The car accident, the coma, the ghost phase, the transformation into a shifter. All the impossible, crazy, supernatural things that had to happen for us to be standing here together. And I think about Sarah, carrying the weight of a reality that no longer exists. About the choices we make for love, the guilt we carry, the forgiveness we offer. Nathan, I say quietly, thank you for being patient with me, for letting me find my place here instead of forcing me into it. He turns to look at me, his gray eyes serious. Lily, you are my place. Wherever you are, that's where I belong. Everything else is just details. Good details, though, I say. Like the fact that you apparently have enough clout to get pizza delivered to a mountain mansion on Christmas Eve. He laughs, the sound rich and warm. It's all about who you know. And who you know happens to be Marco the pizza guy. Marco is pack adjacent, Nathan explains. His sister married into the Westbrook pack. We help each other out. Of course you do, I shake my head. Is there anyone in this state who isn't connected to pack politics? Probably not, Nathan admits. Welcome to my world. Our world, I correct. We're a team, remember. We're a team, he agrees, pulling me closer. Across the room, Maya catches my eye and gives me an enthusiastic thumbs up. I roll my eyes at her, but I'm smiling. So, Nathan says, his voice dropping to a more intimate tone. When can we escape this party? You're the host, I point out. You can't just abandon your own Christmas Eve gathering. Watch me, he says, and there's a wicked glint in his eyes that makes my stomach flip. Nathan Montgomery, I say in mock horror. Are you suggesting we sneak away from your family Christmas party like teenagers? I'm suggesting, he says, leaning down so his breath tickles my ear, that I've been away from my mate for 6 weeks, and I'd like to spend some quality time reminding us both exactly why the universe decided we belong together. Heat floods through me. Okay, that's actually a very compelling argument. I thought you might see it that way, he says smugly. But, I hold up a finger, we need to at least stay until after the gift exchange. It would be rude to leave before that. Nathan groans. The gift exchange takes forever. Everyone insists on making speeches. Then you'll just have to be patient, I say sweetly. Consider it character building. I've been hunting vampire shifter hybrids for 6 weeks, he grumbles. I think my character is sufficiently built. Poor baby, I pat his chest sympathetically. It must be so hard being you. You have no idea, he says, but he's smiling. Someone taps on a glass, calling for attention. It's Marcus, Nathan's adoptive father, standing by the fireplace. If I could have everyone's attention, Marcus says, his voice carrying easily over the crowd. I'd like to say a few words before we begin the gift exchange. Nathan tenses slightly beside me. His relationship with Marcus is complicated. Better than it used to be, but still fraught with unspoken expectations and old wounds. I slip my hand into his, squeezing gently. He squeezes back. This has been quite a year for our family, Marcus continues. We've welcomed new members. His eyes flick to me, and I can't quite read his expression. Celebrated new beginnings and weathered unexpected challenges. Catherine, standing beside her husband, adds, and we're grateful to have everyone here to celebrate with us despite the unconventional circumstances. She's talking about the power outage and the pizza, but her eyes are also on me. There's something softer in her gaze than usual. Not quite acceptance, maybe, but less disapproval. I'll take it. But most importantly, Marcus says, we've been reminded that family isn't just about blood or pack bonds. It's about the people who show up, the people who stay, the people who love us even when we don't deserve it. Sarah makes a small sound, and Chris pulls her closer. So here's to family. Marcus raises his glass, in all its complicated, messy, beautiful forms. To family, everyone echoes, raising their glasses. Nathan leans down to whisper in my ear. He's trying, they both are. I know, I whisper back, it's kind of weird. Very weird, he agrees, but good. The gift exchange begins, and true to Nathan's warning, it takes forever. Everyone has a story about their gift, a memory to share, a thank you speech to make, but it's nice. Chaotic and long-winded and occasionally awkward, but nice. This is what family looks like, I realize. Not perfect, not simple, but real. Emma gets a new gaming console from her mysterious benefactor, who we all know is Nathan, but he refuses to admit it. Maya and Adrian exchange matching silver bracelets that make them both tear up. Chris gives Sarah a locket with a space for the baby's first photo, and she cries so hard he looks genuinely alarmed. And then it's our turn. Nathan pulls me aside, away from the crowd. "I didn't have time to wrap it," he says, looking almost nervous. Nathan, who faces down criminals and supernatural threats without blinking, is nervous about giving me a Christmas present. It's adorable. "That's okay," I assure him. "I didn't have time to get you anything at all, so you're already ahead." "You being here is gift enough," he says, and he means it. "Okay, now you're just trying to make me feel bad about my lack of gift," I accuse. He pulls a small box from his pocket. "This isn't much, and it's not. I mean, it's just..." He trails off, looking frustrated with himself. I've never seen him this flustered. It's fascinating. "Nathan," I say gently, "whatever it is, I'll love it." He opens the box, and inside is a delicate silver chain with a small pendant. At first, I think it's just a pretty piece of jewelry, but then I look closer. The pendant is shaped like a wolf print, but embedded in the center is a tiny compass. "So you can always find your way home," Nathan says quietly. "No matter where you are, no matter what happens, you have a place to come back to me, to us." My throat tightens with emotion. "Nathan, I know it's cheesy," he says quickly. "And you're not the jewelry type, I know that, but I saw it and I just thought..." I cut him off by kissing him. Hard. He makes a surprised sound but recovers quickly, wrapping his arms around me and kissing me back. When we break apart, I'm breathless and slightly dizzy and absolutely certain about one thing. "I love it," I tell him. "I love you. And yes, I know this is getting ridiculously sappy, but I don't care. I love you, Nathan Montgomery. Even when you disappear for 6 weeks to hunt monsters. Even when your family drives me crazy. Even when you drag me to mountain mansion Christmas parties where everything goes wrong. Even when I forget to tell you that being my mate comes with a title and responsibilities," he asks wryly. "Especially then," I confirm, "because you were trying to protect me from being overwhelmed, even if it was misguided and kind of annoying." "Very misguided," he agrees. "Very annoying. I should have told you everything from the start. I should have prepared you. I'm sorry." "We're still figuring this out," I say. "Both of us, and that's okay." He fastens the necklace around my neck, his fingers gentle against my skin. The pendant settles against my collarbone, warm and solid and real. "Perfect," he murmurs, and I don't think he's talking about the necklace. We rejoin the party, and somehow the night continues. More gifts, more stories, more laughter. The candles burn down and are replaced. The pizza is reduced to crumbs. Adrian's eggnog runs out, to everyone's disappointment and relief. Around midnight, people start drifting off to their rooms. The party winds down naturally, leaving just a few of us in the main room. Sarah is dozing on the couch, her head on Chris's shoulder. Maya and Adrian are deep in conversation with Rose about something vampire-related. Emma has retreated to her room, probably to fight more digital bosses. And Nathan and I are curled up in an armchair by the dying fire, my head on his chest, his arms around me. "So," I say sleepily, "on a scale of 1 to 10, how disastrous was this Christmas?" Nathan pretends to think about it. Power outage, fallen tree, burnt dinner, family drama, supernatural confessions. I'd say a solid 8. Only an 8, I protest. Could have been worse, he says. Nobody died, nobody got possessed, no evil witches showed up. The bar for success is really low in your world, I observe. Our world, he corrects gently. And yes, it is. I'm quiet for a moment, just listening to his heartbeat, steady and strong beneath my ear. Thank you, I say finally. For what? For coming home, for being patient with me, for not giving up on us even when things got complicated. Lily, he says, and there's something in his voice that makes me look up at him. I will never give up on us. Never. You're it for me. You're my mate, my partner, my home. Everything else is just noise. I kiss him again, slow and sweet and full of promise. Take me to bed, I whisper against his lips. God, yes, he breathes, and we're both laughing as he stands, lifting me with him. We say quiet good nights to the others still awake, ignoring their knowing smiles, and make our way upstairs to Nathan's room. And finally, after 6 weeks apart, after all the chaos and confusion and Christmas disasters, we're alone. Nathan kicks the door closed behind us and pulls me close, his hands framing my face. I love you, he says. I love you so much it scares me sometimes. Good scared or bad scared, I ask. Good scared, he decides. The kind of scared that reminds me I have something worth protecting, something precious. I'm not that breakable, I remind him. I'm a shifter now, remember. I can heal, I can fight, I can. You're still precious, he interrupts. To me, you'll always be precious. And then we're kissing again, deeper this time, more urgent. His hands tangle in my hair, mine slide under his shirt, and everything else falls away. Later, much later, we're tangled together in his bed, the moonlight filtering through the curtains, casting silver patterns on the walls. Hey, Nathan, I murmur, half asleep. Next Christmas, can we just stay home, just the two of us? Maybe order Chinese food and watch bad movies. He laughs softly, the sound rumbling through his chest. Deal. Though I make no promises about the pack not showing up anyway. Fair enough, I concede. He presses a kiss to the top of my head. Merry Christmas, Lily. Merry Christmas, Nathan. And despite everything, the disasters, the drama, the supernatural confessions and alternate realities, despite all of it, this is perfect. This is home. Epilogue. 3 months later, the baby comes on a Tuesday afternoon in March, 3 weeks early but perfectly healthy. Sarah names her Hope. Because that's what you gave me, she tells me when I visit them in the hospital. All of you gave me hope that I could be better than my worst choice. Hope Montgomery Chen has Chris's blonde hair and Sarah's green eyes and lungs that could wake the dead. She's beautiful and loud and completely perfect. And watching Chris hold his daughter for the first time, tears streaming down his face, I understand something I didn't before. Love makes us do impossible things. It makes us brave and stupid and selfless and selfish all at once. Sarah chose love in that alternate reality, even when it meant hurting others. And in this reality, she's choosing love again, by letting go of guilt, by accepting forgiveness, by allowing herself to be happy. We all are. Nathan and I officially move in together into a place that's not a mountain mansion. Maya and Adrian get engaged. Emma's imaginary friend turns out to be not so imaginary, but that's a whole other story. Rose starts showing signs of her vampire transformation. Life goes on, complicated and messy and beautiful. And every night I touch the wolf print pendant around my neck and remember what Nathan said. Home isn't a place. It's the people who love you even when you don't deserve it. The people who stay. The people who forgive. And I'm home. Thank you for reading. I hope you enjoyed Endless Crush Chaotic Christmas Adventure. Sometimes the best holidays are the ones that go completely wrong, because those are the ones that remind us what really matters. Love, family, and the people who choose to stand by us no matter what. Wishing you all a holiday season full of love, laughter, and maybe just a little bit less drama than this story. Though honestly, where's the fun in that? With love, your friendly neighborhood author, up next. You've got 2 more incredible stories waiting on your screen. If this one hit you, tap to watch the next, and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Oh, and drop your city in the comments. I want to see where you're watching from.